last kind of game or two as well. So hopefully that he carries on where he left off yesterday and makes a real push here, because as you can see in that first elimination, it's always nice to kind of dust, brush the dust off. That first day, obviously, the second day now, but getting your first elimination always makes a big difference. Kind of knowing, right, here we are. We can see Kanada and Bucky on the hilltop there as well, on top of the mountain. Which now we saw height playing a big factor yesterday. We talked a lot about rotations, about border bunkers, and how imperative it is when you get that kind of higher ground. We saw some teams really making the most of it. I think that's why Cammy and Swizzy as well had such a good day. They kind of found the way to always go that much higher than the rest of the lobby and ensure that they were in a more dominant position, which I think is pays dividends when the map's particularly small as they are in reload.
Yeah, and really resourceful as well. I think when you get to those later stages of the game, a lot of players don't have the bunkers, they don't have the shockwaves, but it just seemed like they had bunkers and stuff at the very last stage of the game, which you're just surprised when they're throwing down. Swizzy's throwing one down, you're like, hang on a sec, how's he still got 2 bunkers left in his inventory? How's he managed to get through the entire game without using all of his bunkers? So showcases that they know when to get those refreshes, of course, as well. So a fantastic team to watch. Will they be able to keep it up today? I'm sure the answer to that question will be yes, but we're going to find out as Leo there on the left side of the screen does go down. We see lots of players just sort of sat inside of bushes and buildings, just trying to make their way into that end game. As some areas have a bit more fighting going on, you get some areas that are a little bit more passive, a little bit more peaceful. And Webster and Cooper are one of those teams that are just trying to play on this edge right now. And they've got rotation down towards the south. And a reminder for those that have just joined us or maybe haven't seen Reload before, you can respawn in Reload up to a certain point as long as one of your teammates is alive. So there'll be a certain moment where respawn and reboots are disabled, and then it turns into a standard battle royale for it. So for Adapter right here, he can come back into the game, as you can see, in 15 seconds, as long as Hero stays alive. But that will be turned off as soon as that 7 stone appears.
I know, look who it is. It's third versus first. Cammy and Swizzy on the bridge, the high ground again. Wiping Adapter out, but will, as you mentioned, reboot back into the game for now. But that will change very, very soon here. Still plenty of our players left in the map here. I wonder what they kind of talked about as well. Obviously, we talked about VOD reviewing, kind of going away, regrouping after the first day, and how they're kind of changing things strategically today. For some of our teams, maybe it is being a bit more passive, kind of like, kind of knowing how much those kind of standings points for the latter, if you get to the kind of the final parts of the end game, they make such a big difference to scores we've seen. We mentioned some of our teams here, huge elimination scores, but if you can't back it up with the kind of with the standings points too, makes a big difference. And I think Cooper as well, I think it was a factor yesterday, knowing that they had to deliver on both ends. And I think we're seeing that now, kind of being a little bit more cautious rather than taking on Julian and Dom, who we know are in second place right now and are very, very capable. They were a strong tour de force yesterday, Minnie.
Yeah, they really were, and they clutched up a lot as well. I know Dom in particular was one that was just seemingly clutching up right there at the end. He was a solo in a lot of those end games and managed to solo clutch a victory royale in one of the games as well. And of course, get the placement points that they needed early on, just to set their tone, I guess, for the entire of these 2 days. They just started really well. That obviously, helps a lot when you're trying to build that momentum. As you can see them again playing up on that high ground right now. Be interested to see where this next zone polls to be able to see where they have to rotate, if they have to rotate. As some of our players are looking pretty weak. You see Adapter there in the distance, as well as Threats, trying to find some med kits or any of those med mist grenades that you can throw down, of course. But lots of players just sort of sitting out right now, trying to find their feet in the lobby, and you can see the zone right now. So it does look like Cooper, Webster, QLN, Dom, they will have to rotate a little bit more to the south. And this is actually a zero build player's dream, if you like, when it pulls to a bit more of a built-up area. Not only if you don't have bunkers, you don't have to use them, but if you have bunkers, you can save them for later on down the line. So there's a few different buildings here as well, just on the edge of this next zone. Plenty of options for people here, and this is our leaders right now. Candy with 2 eliminations already. Swizzy not letting 2 friends stay alive for too much longer. And so he's now back to the lobby.
Yeah, I think those shockwaves were a huge factor yesterday as well. I think we saw a lot of players using them to bounce players out of the map into the storm, particularly when the ticks start getting very heavy, as a really good counter attack, a way of kind of making sure that you kind of get rid of other players without having to kind of utilize too much of your ammo, particularly at the end game as well. And it can be very vital to have a maxed out inventory. The Chicho that we see with Leo. 2 eliminations to Leo, which is interesting. I mean, Bolts as well in Quanti. 2 elims. Again, we're seeing kind of like quite a mixed amount of eliminations across the board here. When we're checking with our players, we're kind of seeing that everyone is managing to notch early on and ensuring they're kind of, Chem Beans and Threats, exactly the same. A couple of eliminations, taking out a few you can have duos. I think that's one of the important parts to remember as well here, folks. If you're kind of brand new to Reload, is a huge factor we kind of tend to see here is in the early game. You know, when players can reboot in, they're a lot more gung-ho in many cases. I think when the mid-game, we kind of start to slow down a little bit, and then come the end game, you can see the absolute barrage of players all in that kind of shrinking circle as things get very, very tight here. But in your elimination feed, Swizzy, again, more elimination, reboot disabled. This is when things get very, very spicy.
Yep, standard battle royale now from here on out. So resource management super important. Staying alive is really important as well. As you see, Reed lighting up the feed yet again. So more eliminations for those guys. I think Reed did just go down just before that as well. So really vital elimination for that team over there in the distance. But hopping on board with Ken Beans and Threats, using that lightning rifle. I mean, that was a surprise for me yesterday. I know it's not a favored item in builds, but it seems like in zero builds, genuinely, it could be a very good option if you have the space in your inventory. So hopefully we see more of that today.
Yeah, particularly from distance as well here. I remember Cooper yesterday using it from quite far out, thinking, all right, it's a way of kind of like keeping others at bay by kind of like electrifying the vicinity, which is it's clever. I mean, we saw the bushes. We saw, I think yesterday as well, the kind of the med mists making a big difference as well here. But obviously, they kind of give away your position. You see this kind of array of green smoke pop up in the air. You obviously give yourselves away, but those little minor details in Reload as well make a big difference. As Webster and Cooper kind of hold the fort, they're really utilizing quarter bunkers in this first game here, making the most of them and kind of making everyone else do the work as they kind of remain steady, remain under the panels here. As Yuma over the top there, we kind of talked about lows yesterday. They're currently 19th position, I think, but they're looking good. I think 5 eliminations for Webster and Cooper. This is a really good start from this pair.
Yeah, really nice. Difficult situation, difficult spot for them to be in because everyone's getting over them and then getting the height above them. So it's interesting to see where their next zone pulls because they're sort of on that far west side. You can see, and it does pull south, so everyone on that right side of them is going to have to move down. But it's not going to be easy because there's going to be lots of players who are going to be looking at them as they come. And you see Swizzy and Cammy there just on that side of zone, so they're in a decent enough position. Bucky and Kanada making a play as Yuma looks the third party from afar. Bucky and Kanada do go down in that fight as well, so that hasn't quite worked out for them. But again, Yuma and Keiki, these guys are in a nice situation right now. Nice position on top of this building, can look down at the rest of the lobby. Don't have to rotate early either. But should they choose to, they do have the options. As now Threats down to a solo. Ken Bean's back, just spectating, unfortunately for them. Threats actually gets just his own bunker destroyed by another bunker actually there getting thrown in, but he manages to evade pretty well. This is where you need Threats to clutch up for this team.
Yeah, this is going to demand a lot. When you're on your own, where there's still nine teams left, you absolutely need to either hold steady and look at the rotation bottom screen as well. You can see here with the map starting to kind of move more southernly. Players need to start moving, particularly the likes of Threats, who needs to get there quick, but he needs to kind of cover himself. The shield bubble is playing a huge factor in that. We saw other players as well. A second ago, I think it was Yuma's feed, 6 shockwaves, preparing for that end game when things do get tight. They can come in massive handy. But look who's still there. Cammy and Swizzy are still going strong. They rotate in late, but giving themselves the best position possible. No doubt they're going to get to high ground once again and try and make it another victory royale.
Adapter and Hero having a part to play in this lobby as well. Their second elimination there in this game. Pretty good stuff from them. Reetz goes down in the feed as well. So still 8 players remaining. Cammy and Swizzy front side of zone. Lots of players looking to aggress their box. Adapter, one of them takes down Swizzy. Cammy could be going down as well, and he does. There we go. The leaders are taken down by third place after day 1. Huge eliminations for Adapter and Hero. Now they're the only duo left in this lobby. They need to make the most of it.
They do. Revenge for earlier on in this game. They get them out, Cammy and Swizzy. If there's anyone to take them out, Hero and Adapter are the ones to do it. But look, do we see Dharm still there? Dharm is still going strong in second place right now. This is a battle of the Titans at the top of the table here. Yuma managing to get some mad standings points here as well, being in the final, in the conversation. Dharm's gone. Rapid about to get taken out as well by Adapter, who is popping off right now and gets Zuma. But no, yes, he does behind the boulder. It's 1v1. It's Rapid. I think it's Rapid versus Adapter here. Hero's down, and he gets it. The third place Hero and Adapter are going to give themselves some serious points here. The standings taking out that first position there with Cammy and Swizzy, but also making sure to get those last eliminations. Huge points for the Mini.
Yeah, absolutely huge for this team. That is exactly the start that they could have dreamt of here going into day number 2. What a start for them, finding so many eliminations. They were the only duo there at the end as well, so they managed to make the most of it and find themselves in that situation and just clutch up at the end. There was a few rocky moments there. I thought they were going to go down, but they made it count here, Adam.
Yeah, we've certainly got ourselves a competition, folks. We really do. Things are really hotting up here on Games of the Future here. What a great way to start our day to the competition. For now, a quick break from us. We're back with loads more Fortnite coming your way in just a moment's time.
the Games of the Future 2025 live here from Abu Dhabi. Our second day with a lot of Fortnite action, and we've just witnessed our first match of the day, which is match number 7.
I mean, the match started pretty on a good foot, but anyways, what am I saying? We saw a lot of good plays. We saw teams trying to be aggressive, teams trying to be passive, but we have to address the elephant in the room, which is Adapter and Hero, and the insane plays that they did towards the end, especially Adapter with the clutches, with being able to save his teammate more than once.
they were very patient at the end game. We saw Adapter playing slow and chill. It's like an early game, not even an end game. And they had everything they wanted. They had fizz, bunkers, shockwaves. They played that very smart. Here is the aggro play they played on Swizzy and Kami. They took out the best team in the tournament, so that was very, very huge for them. And at the end, they got the 7-kill win. 4 kills for Adapter, 3 kills for Hero, and I think with that, Hero's still on top of the kills leaderboard.
Absolutely, and I think they also took out the second team on the leaderboard, so they're finishing off their competitors at the moment, and this should, I think, put them in second place.
And this also should put them in a good mental headspace. That first win of the day is always very important. And of course, if you're catching up from tomorrow, from yesterday, you can always see the score on the website, and we can show the scoreboard again from yesterday, but we will see if that gives them a little heads up on the scoreboard for today. And we've actually seen, I've noticed they hold on to their bunkers for a long time, because you can tell in the end game during the last zone they actually need it. So they're holding on, they're playing really passively throughout the match, and then in the end they get out all their bunkers and try and clutch it.
Absolutely, change of style, change of pace is what's needed in Reload, and here on the Adapter did not disappoint. They were focused yesterday, they got third place without any victory royales. The only thing missing was a win, and that's what they got now with 17 points, 10 for the placement and 7 for each elimination they got.
That's very huge, and from what we saw yesterday in the leaderboard, they had 63 points. That means they jumped 17 points, which is 80 points. And we saw Kami and Swizzy ending yesterday with 80 points. I think they got some points this game. We saw Adapter and Hero killed them, but I think they catch up really well.
They should be catching up pretty well. Maybe we can pull up the scoreboard from yesterday again. It won't have the scores from this match, but we can do some calculations and see how much they're going to catch up on that. And of course, 80 points is a lot to catch up on, but with the 30 points they just made, or what is it, 30 points? Yeah. They're going to have a huge advantage in the second match, of course, but still, it's each match is different, so we don't know if they're going to keep this up for them. And of course, we still have 19 other teams to watch out for.
Absolutely. I mean, Kami and Swizzy got 2 wins yesterday, Darm, QLN as well, and then we saw Zyro Rapid getting the victory royale. We saw another team getting the victory royale, Cooper and Webster. So right now, they're catching up. Here and Adapter have a win. They only need to get one more, so they're tied with the top 2 on the leaderboard.
I mean, that's what they missed yesterday. They didn't have any win, but they had many kills with Hero on top of the killing leaderboard. But today they got what they wanted, and in match 1, which is very, very important and huge for the mental game.
So we've seen the team is almost ignoring each other for the first 5 to 10 minutes, I would say, of the match. Do you think that's going to change throughout the day?
Yeah, I think that's going to change after Game 3, Game 4. We're going to see a lot of teams pushing aggressively in the early game. If you're like in the lower 10 in the leaderboard, like from 11th place till the 20th, I think these teams are going to play aggro early game.
What do you think, John?
I mean, yesterday we saw them doing that for the first game, but then the second game I think was kind of more passive. They waited until the end game to take the gunfights. They tried to got the placement points, and then they tried getting the points from the elimination. So I think it might happen earlier, maybe, Soriana, because there is no other chance. Yesterday you're playing, you know there's day 2, you know there are more games. You can still have a chance to try and get yourself more points, but today is the final day. We have 5 games only left, and that's your only chance to get climbing.
And maybe teams are already starting to count their points and the points that they can still achieve in the upcoming 5 matches we still got to play today. So there might be some more aggressive gameplay we're going to see throughout the evening, but it's still a mystery. And we're waiting for another lobby because we have a Fortnite update.
Yeah,
so we
boys.
have to wait for the next match, which is fine. I'll have to update a bit, so we're gonna keep you up here.
Yeah, I mean, we played the first island, Surf City. We saw how different that is from other islands. Play styles don't really change. They kind of tend to do the same thing because it's zero build. They don't have building, but it would have been interesting if we saw building. I think the more aggressive plays would have popped up because they didn't need to worry about covering themselves. They didn't need to play as much passively as we saw today. The guy's still happy. We love to see it. But zero build forces people to change their playstyle, Soriano.
I mean, the building here is the bunker. That's the only way you need to cover yourself, and with the shield bubble is important as well, but the bunker is a huge building thing, so you need to have it in your inventory. And I think the most important thing to have in the early game is the fizz with the combo of the shockwave and some bunkers, maybe your teammate having some shield bubbles, and yeah, that's the importance of the early loot that we talked about earlier.
So do you think the scoreboard would look entirely different if it were with building?
I don't think so, because pro players are there every time, so
they're good either way.
They're good either way. They're pros for a reason.
I see. Are there certain pros who only play zero build?
Again?
Are there players who only play zero build pro players competitively?
They don't.
More of, not quite the performance that you were hoping from Cooper and Webster, but still plenty of time to go for this team.
Absolutely. 4 kills.
Really passively throughout the match. And
yeah, I mean, we played the first island, Surf City. We saw how different that is from other islands. Playstyles don't really change. They kind of tend to do the same thing because it's zero build. They don't have building, but it would have been interesting if we saw building. I think the more aggressive plays would have popped up because they didn't need to worry about covering themselves. They didn't need to play as much passively as we saw today. The guy's still happy. We love to see it. But zero build forces people to change their playstyle, Soriano.
I mean, the building here is the bunker. That's the only way you need to cover yourself, and with the shield bubble is important as well, but the bunker is a huge building thing, so you need to have it in your inventory. And I think the most important thing to have in the early game is the fizz with the combo of the shockwave and some bunkers, maybe your teammate having some.
We have a map rotation again, and we'll see how they'll adapt to it.
A lot of eliminations.
And with that, we're gonna go into match number 8 and match number 2 of the day. And let's go.
Thank you very much. Here we are on match number 2 on the day and match number 8 overall. We've seen a bit of an upset here, Adam. Early on, day 2, game 1, we saw Adapter and Hero picking up game number 1 victory royale. So rocking the ship a little bit, particularly of that of Swizzy and Cammy. Long may it continue, especially for the neutral perspective, but what a start.
What a start. We all know as well, Reload is about momentum, and we saw that from Hero and Adapter in the last game. A lot of different duos as well, doing exactly that and rotating when necessary. You can see here, I've got the edge of map right now, we can see, I think it's Keiki and Yuma. Who again, like we saw yesterday on the feed, so much. And I'm surprised to kind of see them kind of where they are on the table right now, but they are right above Cooper and Webster, who are in the vicinity. I mean, that's the thing. If you can utilize, if you can get teams eliminated early on, obviously it's good for you in the long run when it comes to the end game. However, you kind of sometimes want players to be around. If you want to kind of catch up points, you kind of want to keep players in the game until as long as you can, ultimately, right?
Yeah, for sure. You want to try and, stay aggressive, getting those eliminations early on. I mean, you just saw Cooper going down right there. Maybe they can let him reboot, get another elimination on him. I mean, you get a lot of claim in terms of the loot at the POI as well. If you can, of course, take out Cooper right there, and then they now have an extra 15 seconds or so to actually loot up without him gliding back in and potentially earning themselves a little bit of extra loot. As you can see, Webster there as well, just staying alive to make sure that Cooper can get back in the game. But even if Cooper gets back in, they're going to just spray him down again. So really nice elimination there early on from Yuma. And hopefully that's the start of something great from these guys, because they definitely have the ability. As you said, we've seen them a lot. I feel like we've, witnessed some great gameplay from them and some great moves, but not quite moving up the leaderboard enough as Hero looking to take down Cookie right here. Doesn't quite find the shot, but connects with the second. Hero surely will take him out. Yeah, he will. And will get the pistol right there, the mythic pistol. The Mammoth pistol, one of my favorite weapons. Absolute boost of a gun. So see what he can do with that. Maybe mount an attack on top of the leader.
When I think of you, Mini, I think of Mammoth. That would be your power, your spirit animal. 100%.
Thanks for that, mate.
I see Queasy and Mr. Savage as well on our screens. You know, we touched on it earlier on today and yesterday. Two hugely prolific players in Fortnite we've seen competitively in recent years. Surprised they haven't done made more of a mark on the map early on in this competition. Obviously, you know, this would be a time to do that, but for the two of them, perhaps it could be a format, it could be a general vibe. Things haven't worked out POI-wise and kind of they're being contested, but for those two, I think we saw yesterday, there was a couple of times that if they start to pop off, they really can do a lot of damage very quickly. Same like we saw Phaser and Gorilla yesterday as well, got themselves in really good positions. Kind of working, you know, to get themselves the best infantry loadout as they can right now. The more fights come into effect with the AR and that shotgun as well, with the short range and long range combat. You know, they're suited in both prospects should anything come troubling their way. But Quanti and Bolts, I think that's that. I mean, that is some distance. I mean, I shout out to Quanti for the 38 tag from a mile out. I mean, the precision's just second to none. I think with some of these pros here, for you guys watching at home who might not be as familiar with the competitive scene, this is the difference of the difference making here. As you can see, this the range from our pros is pretty spectacular. Yeah, pretty insane stuff from these guys. I just see Hero actually going down in the feed to Cooper, so looks like that little fight. We saw Cooper going down, then of course Reboot, and Hero and Adapter did try and clean up, and it looks as though that hasn't quite gone their way, so Adapter's going to have to pick up the pieces over there at Adobe Bode, so we will see what happens with that. I just really hope that, you know, we can have a close tournament here as a neutral. I'm sure Swizzy and Cammy will be looking to do the complete opposite and keep winning. I was going to say, it's like the age-old adage there of if things get dicey, hide inside an elephant's ribcage. We just saw that just then from our players. As QLN
always live by that.
Always live by that, you know, absolutely. I use it all the time. But you can see making their way in from the kind of more south side there as, you know, King as well, a player we kind of saw in some respects yesterday doing a great job there of scoring elimination points when necessary. But do we expect more? We kind of do, and I think we will see it, you know, coming into effect at some point. Trippin and Zrul, actually, I think Trippin and Zrul yesterday had the highest eliminations of a game we had yesterday. I think with 13 eliminations or something, which is extraordinary. And I think they currently sit around 6th or 7th in the leaderboard, so still massively in contention. A lot of things going right for them. But currently sat in Storm here, kind of waiting out in a bush, kind of waiting, kind of see who comes in. We can see that we've got Acorn and Oliver OG just they've seen them and kind of want to kind of ensure they can kind of tag them in the Storm, get the extra elimination points before pressing forward back into the main area of the map. Big day for Triffin's Rule. I'm sure they'll be thinking about the whole of Denmark as well. It's been a good year for Denmark, particularly in the FNCS. When it comes down to FNCS titles, they've managed to win a couple, which is always nice to see. So if they could take home a win here as well, it'd be a fantastic year for Danish players. As Chicho and Leo, a team that we haven't seen absolutely loads of, but they have been doing decent in terms of the standings. So inside of that top 6 coming into today. So a big day for those guys as well. Again, another sort of content creator focused player teamed up with another pro. So it's always interesting to see how those dynamics go as well. I mean, Leo, you know, fantastic player in his own regard, but he's probably more focused on the content viewing parties these days. And Dom as well. I mean, we haven't, you know, seen too much from Dom going into that late stage of the end game in that last one, and then they just started popping off out of nowhere, and then you saw Dom clutching up again, and again managed to get a really good end game there in that first one, so hopefully they can continue. Yeah, I think there's some great trades yesterday we saw from QLN and Dom. I think that's one of the I think 2 victory royales yesterday and managed to keep themselves in the conversation here. Webster being blasted out with a shockwave there, and Cooper sweeping up, getting some extra elimination points, ensuring that they will be rebooting in. The reboot's not been disabled just yet, but Cooper then pinned in the sky. Again, I think the shockwaves have played an important part in this reload competition we've seen here. Just not only kind of like eliminating opponents, kind of projecting them into the storm we've seen, but also great for Ascension, getting shots off and firing from the skies above as you kind of move onto a position, try and gain height from other players and other teams too.
Yeah, Cooper did really well actually there, just to stay alive for as long as he could to allow Webster to get back into the game. The problem is now you're almost playing a little game of Fortnite Leapfrog to where both of those players now don't have any guns. They only have the grey assault rifle. They don't have the heals or anything, so not ideal for them, and not ideal here for Trip, who has gone down. Zrul with that basic loadout, only got the assault rifle. His only play here is just to try and stay alive and let Trip reboot and fly somewhere else, because this was looking okay for them when we last were on board with them, but no! Spotted out! Queasy says hello, and Zrul has to say goodbye to the lobby because unfortunately they are out. So after just picking up Danish Fortnite, they are now out of the game.
GG's. GG's. See you back in the lobby. I think I mean that's unfortunate for them. We've seen they've been stellar in this competition thus far, so it'd be sad for them to not get back in. Obviously, couldn't quite stay alive long enough, but Leo having to close the door behind him very quickly there and whack out the bush because they are being pressed hard and fast by Bucky and Canada, who once more have found a way to stand atop the mountain. As the last 7 games we've seen have been really good at getting that height in those positions. It just seems that when it comes to the kind of final circle, when things start to get very kind of dicey, very funny, kind of when they have to rotate in, that's when right now they've got the slurps, they've got med mists, they're looking good with porta bunkers. I mean, they've got a nice inventory set up there as well. It's been good to them, so they can hold for now, see when the next one comes in 20 seconds time. We'll kind of see where the next circle goes, and maybe hopefully they can hold off Dharm and QLN. We're eager to entrap them for as long as they can before we find out where they go next.
Yeah, nice positioning here from Dharm and QLN. You saw Leo and Chicho just, I think, almost gravitating towards that supply drop naturally. You're flying through the air, you think, where are we going to land at the supply drop. I don't think look too far around them, because they ended up in a sandwich here between Canada and Bucky and Dharm and QLN, and that's not the sandwich that you want to be involved in at all. So unfortunately for those guys, we just saw them go down. Lots of loot down there as well. You can see them sort of investing their bunkers here, Bucky and Canada. They can see that there's a little bit of extra loot from that team in Leo right there, and it's a bit of a shockwave tennis match at the moment. Bucky doesn't quite connect, but does get connected by Threats' shockwave, and they're still trying to shockwave them out. Bucky just trying to make sure that he can spray out their bunker as much as possible. Throwing down another one does Canada. He has popped one of those slurps, so now hasn't got any shield heal left, only the Medmis grenade. And really nice shockwave there from Bucky just to get rid of the threat of Threats and Ken Beans, who are now no longer on the hill.
Yeah, trading shockwaves there. You try and bounce me out, I'm doing the same back to you, buddy. And Canada and Bucky there managed to stand tall and hold position. As they are in the circle right now, they've been quite fortuitous there, that no need to really rotate or move. They can stay exactly where they are. However, Ken Beans and Threats are eager to try and get around the back and try and find some kind of leverage here. The Fizz coming into effect there, also giving that little kind of buff to rotations, to movement. Threats has found an absolute angle there through the tiny little gap in the fence, and getting a few tags there too, just to show again the precision there. Love to see that, and back up with the Fizz, and hopefully, there's a team to their left here. Will they kind of see them as they come over the hill? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, they need to get some form of cover because they're pretty exposed.
Yeah, they got that mythic assault rifle as well. That striker, the scoped. So definitely a very, very powerful weapon, as now Bucky and Canada, they were able to pick up some of that extra loot that they got from Leo's team earlier, and some extra bushes as well. So this team have definitely used a lot of utility, but have been able to recover it very effectively indeed. Bucky again trying to go for a shockwave out, connects as well and causes chaos in the bunker across from them. 2 friends goes down, but they got to watch their back. Threats and Ken Beans are back where they just were, causing them problems again. And look at that zone pull though for Canada and Bucky. Long, long way to go. They do have Fizz and they do have shockwave, so it shouldn't be a problem, particularly since they've got those bunkers still in their inventory, but still a long way to go for that team.
Yeah, if they're gonna make a play though, Threats and Beans, they need to do so soon, as they are right on the dead side of the map, far away from the zone where they need to get to. Reboot's disabled now as well, top right hand corner of your screens here, so we know that every elimination is a done deal. No returning, that is it for this game. Utilizing shield bubbles around as well, Canada and Bucky, as they've got a couple of bushes in their inventory, the shockwaves too, they can rotate as you mentioned, but they're going to be careful here. But Ken Bean's taken down, beamed out of the sky. Bucky, that is naughty!
Wow, I mean, Cammy actually was the one that got the credit for it, but it looked like there was about 8 different players spraying at him. through the air. Really unfortunate for Kennedy, so that's the danger of using shockwaves and the fizz. You just get sent so far and quite slow when you are with that fizz. So let's see if Swizzy and Cammy can do a better job at rotating in right now. They've got a bit of a distance to cover as well themselves. So this rotation is going to be super important. They're actually in a solo shockwave, which is always a little bit easier to get back together with. So I like those plays. Acorn and Oliver OG going for the traditional route on foot, using the saving the shockwaves later on King and his teammate. Gorillon are also just in that area. Actually do get shockwaved out as well. It's just shockwave chaos right now as Oliver OG and Acorn do find themselves just about inside of the storm, safe and sound.
Yeah, they do here. I mean, interestingly there, Cammy and Swizzy saw only one elimination. We've seen that kind of frequently over the course of this competition, that they haven't had mad eliminations at all. I don't think we've seen until they come to the end game versus other teams we've seen. But that could be what what they've done so brilliantly. You saw the shockwave as well, blasting Aegis out, but manages to get back in just in time here as Oliver OG and Acorn reside back underneath the bunker, waiting to see what's going to happen next. With about a minute left on the clock before we start to see a need to push. Quanti and Bolts again took a lot of damage in the air, but managed to kind of regroup, regather, and give themselves a fighting chance here too.
Difficult zone rotate though, you can see it going over the water, really difficult to manage in zero build. Oliver OG hitting shots as well, but having to manage all the different angles that players could be flying in from, as they do still have that shockwave and an extra bunker as well, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem for them in terms of getting in and staying safe. But the tree causes problems for them. Bucky goes down, that's Acorn with a fantastic elimination. There goes another elim to add to their tally and to add to Acorn's tally, and they can reuse these bunkers now from these other players. Oliver OG next door as well. They hopefully will be able to get in with this one shockwave, which they do. Nicely done from this team. Now Oliver OG needs to reconnect with Acorn and get inside this bunker, so that keeps them alive. And in this game, this is a good attack from this team, and it's good performance from a team that really need it.
Yeah, we've seen Acorn as well, one of our top fraggers right now in the leaderboard. Has been absolutely incredible. That's why he's done such big work, because he has almost every Fortnite competition over the course of the last 5 years or so. We're seeing now as well that Yuma's having to hold fire, trying to get those placement points. They're just fighting off everyone around them. It is an absolute onslaught of fire coming in their direction here as they try and last this one out. 6 teams remain, 12 players. We've got 6 duos left on the map here, and that storm is really tight. And you look at the size of that, there's only 4 bunkers and palm trees, nothing else to use, Mini.
Nothing else to use, but look who's in the lobby. It's the familiar faces of Swizzy and Cammy, and they are the ones that are wreaking havoc right now on the rest of it as Yuma goes down. Rapid and Zyro in the backside of zone. Shockwaves coming out everywhere as well. There goes Mr. Savage and Queasy, but a solid game from them. Cammy and Swizzy are inside of the zone. They can take out Oliver OG. It's a 2v2 situation. It is Zyro coming in and taking down Cammy. Rapid is down in the storm as well. An absolute chaos as it's actually Rapid and Zyro who take the win. Cammy and Swizzy go down. Another good game from them, but a clutch, a bit of a chaotic clutch in the end from Zyro's team right there. What a clutch.
Absolutely insane. Just playing, I mean, Swizzy going toe-to-toe in the water there, just bobbing around like apples, like ducks out there in the water. Sitting ducks, almost quite literally there. But Swizzy couldn't quite connect at the end there, conceding into a 2nd place. Cammy and Swizzy, I mean, as usual, cool, calm, collected. Not ones to seem too elated, despite the fact coming 2nd here in this game. But interesting to see where they came there. I mean, great victory for our winning duo there. We'll definitely break that down for you guys and bring you our Game 3 here at Games of the Future very shortly on Battle Royale featuring Fortnite. Don't go anywhere. Join us back here in just a bit.
The Games of the Future 2025 live here from Abu Dhabi, closing in on match number 8 and match number 2 for the day.
We're going now into the replays of the previous game. I mean, Soriano, we saw a lot of good plays as well this time, using a lot of bushes because we're playing Oasis, obviously a more open type of island that you need more bunkers, you need more bushes, and a lot of shockwaves are still continuing. Different play styles, honestly, this time, but we're back with the orange outfits. I personally loved seeing a lot Canada and Bucky play. They felt like, or I felt like they were controlling their ground before getting eliminated.
We've seen many shockers plays by Bucky and Canada, a very good game for them. And we've seen Savage and Queasy for the first time in the really in the game. I think they got 4th place this game, so that's a good game for them.
Absolutely, and even Kami and Swizzy still survived until the end. They did not get the win, but being able to stay in the top 5 every single game will guarantee that they stay at the top of the leaderboard and potentially win the overall thing.
You can actually see the last couple of seconds of the match right here with Kami and Swizzy struggling to keep up that bunker, being knocked down in the end by Rapid, who is going to take that victory royale home, and actually not the first time Rapid took out Kami and Swizzy. We've seen that on match number 4 yesterday already. So a common enemy? Rivalry? Maybe. We'll see.
Deja vu. I mean, they got their overall 2nd win in this tournament. It's their 1st win today, but they did get a win yesterday. And here is the leaderboard. Swizzy and Kami residing in number 1 with a big difference with 108 total points, 47 eliminations, and 61 placement points, followed by Darm and QLN with 84 total points, and only a 3-point difference between Adapter and Hero. So we're going to see a lot of shifts between the 2nd and 3rd place. Moving forward to the 4th place, Zyro and Rapid, which just got their 2nd win with 72 points. So Adapter and Hero are still holding up and doing a pretty good job, but a lot of people have their eyes on Reed, Soriano, and CY, so they're also climbing up, and now they're in 5th place.
Yeah, I mean, Oliver OG and Acorn got a really good game. They clutched up to place number 6. And Leo the Crack and Chico after them with 50 points, same points for Zrul and Tripper. Bolts and Quanti in the 9th place with 44 points. Threats and Ken Beans with 43 points. I mean, from top 6 till the 10th place is like very, very close to each other with the points. But Swizzy and County with the consistency, they're flying in the leaderboard on top.
I think they're gonna play musical chairs between the second and third and fourth place, but between 5 and 10 we only have a 10-point difference, so literally any game can change the overall scores and anybody can still stay in the top 5, and hey, if you're participating in this game you're still getting prize money.
Talking about the game, we're right now jumping into game number 9 in total, and I'm gonna throw it over to our casters.
Lovely jubbly. That's right, we are jumping back into the action here, and the third game of our day 2 here on Game to the Future as we zoom into Quanti's face. Hello, Quanti. That's up close and personal. It's good to see you. We've got ourselves a really interesting competition here. I think Cammy and Swizzy that we just saw in the last kind of phase of that game. Interestingly, Swizzy chose to kind of push when he had the bunker up, ready to rock and roll there. A little bit overexcited, overconfident perhaps, Mini, but still. The points speak for themselves. Placing points aside, 47 eliminations, insane.
Yeah, it was so chaotic there in the end, wasn't it? It was a water zone, so everyone was sort of bouncing around everywhere. I was almost just waiting to say, and Cammy and Swizzy have won yet another game, but no. It was a really nice play from Zyro and his team, so I'm excited about what that means. I'm excited to see whether that's going to, maybe make Cammy and Swizzy play a little bit more calmly now in those endgame situations and not try and take those too lightly, because maybe they thought, yeah, you know what, it's Cammy and Swizzy. We know what we can do here. And got a little bit over-aggressive, but they're going to put that behind them now as Chicho and Leo look like they're in a bit of spot of bother at the beginning of the game here, as Acorn and Oliver OG, who have sort of come into their own in day 2 here, it does seem like. Leo trying to get away, Oliver OG trying to connect with the shots, which he does, and takes down Chicho and Leo. That is our first team eliminated here in game number 9, so not a great start from that team whatsoever. But they're going to need to recover, but really good stuff from Acorn and Oliver, who now have that POI to themselves.
Yeah, I think they've one of these teams, I think, who will happily get more aggressive early games if they need to, and I think we've seen it time and time again from the likes of Acorn and Oliver as well. Kind of finishing off there with a silence pistol from distance, kind of just making sure they guarantee getting that point. As we catch up with Aegis and Kaiki as well, who. Again, we featured them a little bit yesterday. We kind of saw them kind of not necessarily making as much of an impact from a standings point of view, but are definitely always ensuring that they don't kind of wait things out. They do push when they have to and are not afraid to take on any duo that comes their way as well. We see Rapid there just waiting to kind of capitalize with Zyro on the win from their last game just there, just kind of ready to get some more points on the board. Aegis trying to get himself around, but he's getting pinged in the back there. And again, you see Aegis running past the window, chasing down whoever shot at him. I love to see it.
The aggression early on here, super important for both of these teams. As you can see, Aegis managed to heal his way back up. And another big game needed for these guys. Aegis, we know what he can do. Haven't quite seen it to the fullest potential so far down this competition. Still, we got over a quarter left, so still plenty of action to come. And we're far from the end of the competition as of right now, but I think this is really crunch time. I think this is really where you sort of set the tone for how the rest of the day is going to go. If you can clutch up and get a nice game here, it could set a nice little bit of a comeback off, or if you don't have a great game, you're further down the leaderboard, you got to make sure that's not going to continue to happen. So a real important game for a lot of our teams. Cooper and Webster we've seen glimpses of, and glimpses of good things, but also some glimpses of not so great. So they're going to want to hope that they can find some success here in the later stages today. And Cammy and Swizzy consistently making these end games. It seems like every single time we're looking in the end game lobby, they're just there, and they always find their way there, and they always have great loot. It's just closing out that win wasn't quite possible last game, but I expect them to continue to do what they do best.
Yeah, Cammy sending out Swizzy into the front line as he acts as general from the back, looking over the battlefield, calling the action. And ensuring that he can kind of give them comms at all times to let them know exactly where the dangers may be and how to ensure they kind of contain the local area too. Threats and Chem Beans having a day where they've been really busy. I mean, Trip there as well, getting knocked down. We've seen Trip been aggressive. He hasn't seemed to have won many of his 1v1s today, which is a shame, because he obviously yesterday was so successful with those, hence the kind of huge elimination score they managed to gather together. But today it hasn't been quite as good, and Zrul still managed to stay alive there so that Trippin can be back in. We saw it in the first game when sadly that didn't happen, and I think it was Queasy took rule out early on, and it costs you now. I think with the leaderboard as well, if you kind of don't have a good game on the second day, when you kind of reach the kind of the final games as well, the devastating effect it can have on your position is huge. I mean, we've seen it time and time again here, and obviously we talked about the green mist too. You can see it right there. It gives your position away, and Dom is just holding back with QLN, just trying to get these tags again. It's been smart from these two the entire time.
Yeah, it has. I think we're getting to that stage of the competition now where teams are really figuring out what they need to do to make the most out of this competition. If they're further down, they're going to need to W key early on. So, you know, maybe teams they would have let reboot and then try and farm the eliminations from, maybe they don't do that anymore. They just try and go a little bit more gung-ho and try and fight a little bit more. So for the teams that are higher up and they just want to try and play consistent, that's not what you want. You want to have the rest of the lobby also thinking the same. So it's really interesting to see the clashes of play styles now as we get towards the end of the competition, or at least the last quarter. You get to sort of see what people are actually looking to try and do and how they're going to try and make the most of this two-day competition, as Canada and Bucky have a lot to do. They seem like they're always finding themselves in decent situations, but just maybe go that one step too far when it comes to aggression. But still a team and a force to be reckoned with. So keep an eye out for those guys later on. Plenty of cover in this area as well, so you can sort of see everyone just finding their own building, their own bits of loot. So not too problematic for anyone around here. But it's been really exciting. I think what we've seen so far is some real great dominance, some real great consistency, but also some nice shining moments from some of our players that need it as well, which is great.
That's a med mist there has gone down conveniently there just to keep Kenbeans going while they're being pressed, and hopefully threats can get back in. Canada utilizing this bush once more. I think it's been a real kind of, I mean, with reload in general, we've seen that the bushes make a huge, advantage when it comes to kind of scoping out opponents and not being seen as easily yourselves. But Reet and Caesar we can see as well. Caesar, Cyrazer, I keep going between the two things. But you can see that they've actually scored themselves a huge amount of eliminations. But is it wise taking on the second place team right now? And we've seen how good they've been in the last 2 days. Only time will tell here as he uses the grappler to try and get that advantage, trying to take out both players, ensuring they don't reboot back into the lobby, but it doesn't go well, and Reet is forced to retreat.
Down to a solo now, and you can see they were trying to almost sneak there, try and make a play on Dom and QLN, but unfortunately for them, it's not quite worked out. And he's got to be careful here, Reek, because of course he doesn't know, but here an Adapter are inside of this building. Luckily, his teammate is still alive, but this could end badly for Reek if he's not too careful. And they're both actually getting towards the same area. The zone does actually pull back here, so this is not a bad position to be in. It will pull back there, but it's just whether they'll have the loot in that building or whether they may have to try and aggress Hero and Adapter. You can see Zrul there, just inside one of these buildings. Kai as well, just inside of the bus, actually. Just riding the bus. Be waiting a while, mate. It's not going to be going for too much longer. It's just waiting in these positions. It's just a waiting game for a lot of the players now that aren't too aggressive.
Well, it wouldn't be Fortnite if we weren't riding at least 1 or 2 buses every few minutes. I mean, that's just, it's part and parcel. But you can see the map here as well. The threats and Kenbeans happy to remain in the storm for now. Just biding their time, looting as much as they can do before pressing into what is a very, very busy, almost like a traffic jam, like a road jam on that kind of highway above the town we can see right now. There's a lot of teams in the vicinity kind of all looking to try and gain their advantage, kind of scoping out where the opponents are coming from, how they should best play the next circle, and we kind of find out where it's going to go in the next 40 seconds or so. Dom and QLN, I've really enjoyed watching. I think they've been a real tour de force the last 2 days. But again, we keep cutting to Kenbeans and threats. I mean, I'm just seeing threats 5 eliminations already.
Wow. I
mean, that's an incredible start to proceedings in this 9th game for this duo.
Yeah, exactly right. And they've really been really bright throughout this 2-day competition so far. Really impressed actually with how they have been. Clearly know each other very well, clearly played and practiced a little bit as well, talked strategies before this competition, and it's paying off already, as we see Queasy there going down in the feed, Reet as well. There's a few teams that when you do get into a bit of a sticky situation, we saw it with Reet's team, you can see them about to fully fall right now, which they do. To Cammy and Swizzy. It's one of those situations where when you do lose a teammate, then you need to try and clutch up and maybe find another elimination. You overstretch a little bit, try and take out a team to get back that loot that you lost, and then things all start to tumble down from there. So this is the moment where you do often see a lot of teams that are sat just waiting because they don't want that to happen to them, and unfortunately for Reet's team, it has.
Yeah, Quanti on seriously low health there. Bolts to the rescue while they're being pressed by Bucky, who was right on their tail. Can he make it count, though? The shield bubble's out. All they've got to work with is a few cargo containers. With Canada backing him up, they're hunting them down. The reboot ending 1 minute 15 seconds or so. So if they're going to go down, now is the time to do it. You will hopefully get a chance to reboot, get back in, and load up once more before the final phase of this 9th game in our series. We're playing 12 games total, 6 yesterday, 6 today. And this will mark the halfway point through the second day when the 9th game culminates in one of our teams winning this very shortly here, as 17 teams remain. And we get very, very excited here with teams all this. You see what, at the bottom of your screens, you can see 6 teams just on that southern side yet to actually go in from Storm to the safe zone right now. One of those teams being Cammy and Swizzy, but we know for a fact this team, they're being so dominant thus far. They'll make it, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, this is a tactical ploy to kind of remain atop that bridge perhaps as well. But King's duo is waiting for them.
I mean, Cammy and Deadside is the most dynamic duo in Fortnite history. I mean, they're in the storm. They've got enough heals. It would be weird if Cammy was actually on the congested side, inside of the zone at this point. And you can sort of see them making their way in. So hopefully they will have another good game for them, as Canada and Bucky also sat inside of their bunker. Reboot's just about to end as well, 5 seconds until that happens. So this is the time that things get exciting and things get real, because when you're down, you are out. And for Yuma and his teammate, this is an important time for them to try and get some shots off from afar, but they do still have to rotate. And no, they're actually going to go towards this team in bolts here. They do actually go towards the zone in doing so, so maybe they'll be able to find those eliminations as well. Candies and Threats also looking really strong right here, as yeah, Yuma does take out Quanti there in the feed, so they were successful in that attack.
Yeah, taking out Aegis and Kaiki there as well, so they got 7 eliminations to their name already, with 16 teams left in the lobby, which is exciting for them. But Cammy and Swizzy just holding for now, kind of waiting to see if they can get a or heads up, or maybe get some revenge of their own against Hero and Adapter, who wait for them just on the right-hand side. You can see there, just in front. Whether or not Hero and Adapter will shockwave away. I mean, Swizzy again making sure that he knows that they're there. They have that high ground too, but they're going to have to rotate in soon. But QLN going down, one of the teams in second right now. I mean, this is great for them. If Cammy and Swizzy can continue where they've left off right here and make sure those two teams are not left in the lobby at this early stage, it gives them such a buff going into those last 3 games.
Yeah, look at that zone. They can see that there's a bit of that hill that's still inside of the zone. You can see there the marker. Cammy's actually gone there already to try and claim that spot, so they'll be hoping that zone pulls all the way back up to the north. If it does, they should be their game to win right here. Mr. Savage there just trying to rotate in from the side. Swizzy hitting absolute beams with this assault rifle, doing what he does best. That's his 4th of the game. Mr. Savage still trying to run his way in as well, but there's so many players that are going to be looking at him, making use of all of his utility to make it count. Where does the zone pull? It does pull back over that hill, so not only is Cammy and Swizzy in the prime position, everyone else is in the opposite of prime position, because they are now having to traverse up this hill, and there's no builds. So how are they going to do it?
Look at this positioning right now. The only piece of high ground available, and guess who's got it? Cammy and Swizzy. This is no mistake. This is, of course, the way in which they roll and how they have become such an incredible duo that you do have to fear every single step of the way in this competition here. I mean, Threats and his teammate here, Ken Beans, 10 eliminations now, and they are absolutely stomping their way through this lobby here and ensuring that even if they don't go all the way and get the victory out, they at least put themselves up there with points, getting as many as they can as teams soar across the sky. Acorn, Oliver OG, Adapter and Hero above, trying to get an advantage of some sort as they kind of look down below them and see where the threat is coming from.
Good positioning from everyone here. You can sort of see everyone identifying, right, we got to get up. Up is important here. Up is crucial. And you can see that everyone's making their way inside of this area. Darm and QLN, I say Darm and QLN, just Darm on his own, throwing down a bunker, making his way inside the zone, staying above. Unfortunately, though, this is not going to end well, I don't think. And actually does able to connect with a few shots, but not quite able to do it. Ken Beans has lost Threats. Can he pick him back up in time? Looks like he's going to be successful in this reboot. Cammy and Swizzy aggressing Darm right there inside of that box, close to them now, next door neighbors, and the zone does pull back down, so a little bit of respite for everyone that's down below here. Really nice rotation from Threats.
really nice. Sadly, his teammate though has gone down in the process of rezzing his teammate. There's no time now. Ken Beans is out of the contest, but Acorn managing to get back in. Only 30 health. They take out Rapid though. One of the winners of our Victory Royales in our last game we saw there. His teammate comes through. Oh, but he's blasted away. Now suddenly out of nowhere, looking strong. Deleted, Mini. Deleted.
And who
Webster's
was it?
there. Webster, I believe, just watching. Look at all that loot. Beautiful. That was quick and fast. That was insane. Cooper and Webster get themselves a Victory Royale. We lost a ton of players in an instant. A click of the fingers, bada bing, bada boom. We get ourselves a Cooper and Webster victory there. But QLN looking really happy there as well, as we understandably so, as the points will be interesting. I mean, Cammy and Swizzy played really well, but they'll be annoyed the fact that Cooper and Webster walk away as victors of this last matchup here. This is really gonna shake things up on our leaderboard as expected here. Games of the future, we've got 3 games left for you in the future, and they're coming your way very, very soon after this break. So our players take a break, we'll do exactly the same. We'll see you back here in a bit.
Running a business doesn't have to be complicated. At Solutions Plus, we provide a tailored combination of consulting, business process outsourcing, and technology solutions, from digital to finance, procurement, HR, ESG, and integrated facilities management. We take care of it all, letting you focus on success. Partner with Solutions Plus and take your business to the next level.
遅えな。
Welcome back to the Games of the Future, live here from Abu Dhabi, closing in halftime for the day. Match number 3 just happened, and we're looking at some highlights.
Definitely, I mean, match 3 was one of the best games that we've seen so far with the amount of bunkers. I think they should call it Bunker City instead of Surf City, but overall, game 3 was kind of slower than the first two. I think only one team died until the 6th zone. But Reload is all about consistency, as we know, and being consistent gives you that reward. And Kami and Swizzy were honestly very consistent throughout the tournament, and also with game 3 surviving until the end. Also dominating the high ground on the hill, overlooking the rest of the team, so they had the upper hand, as we can see in the highlight right now. Swizzy just having fun at the top of that hill. Threats and campaigns kind of got eliminated early. I expected that they would be able to survive more towards the end game, but that didn't happen. Reed in the beginning actually did a very nice play where he ran off in the zone using shockwave nades to try and save his teammate, but obviously he got eliminated in the end, but that was a good play that we saw. However, Cooper and Webster got the victory royale, so that is their second win overall.
Yes, and coming into match number 4, we've seen a lot of different plays, and of course, the Reed gameplay, we just have to talk about that for a second, because he actually went away as soon as his teammate got knocked out, which is kind of typical. You see that a lot in Reload. And then jumping back into the game a couple minutes later, we see them actually taking him out still with his teammate back alive, which is unfortunate for them. But in the end, even though Kami and Swizzy still up for grabs, they are still standing strong in that position number 1. They're holding up this domination, I would say, and there's only three more matches to play, so not a lot of time to catch up on those points.
Absolutely, it's getting trickier, Seriano. I mean, teams don't really have that many chances left, as Raya just said. They only have the 3 games, but Reed's gameplay just shows how different it is between zero build and build, because if you had the capacity to build, he could have just protected himself that way, but he had to push himself in the zone, and it was just an unlucky ending for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Kami and Swizzy with the consistency. I think they're going to keep playing the same way they're playing, and they're doing so good right now. We saw Abdullah and his teammate getting 8 kills, which is a huge game for them. They needed these points, and the clutch was huge.
I mean, we've seen them, I believe it's Acorn and his teammate up high on the leaderboard. I think it must have been top 3, top 5 at the beginning of the day. So racking up those points is important too for them. And maybe in between matches we're going to look at the leaderboard again. But of course I'm excited to see match number 4, looking forward to those points. that are gathering up as we speak.
Yeah, actually, Acorn is one of the top eliminators so far. I mean, that's at least what we saw with the beginning of day 2. Maybe things have changed now. Maybe we have other people such as Adapter that's playing very well at the moment. And even with Game 3, they're still pulling up.
Yeah, I noticed Hero IGLing very good today. And he used the early paths going on the high ground and positioning early. That's very important. That's why we see them on the top of the leaderboard, because Hero with the IGLing and decision making is very important in the late game, and Hero's doing the best he can do.
Yeah, and even if we move back to Swizzy and Kami, we all know in any shooter game, in any FPS game, especially Fortnite, you need to hold the high ground. And we saw Swizzy and Kami beautifully executing that, taking the high ground, being able to control the game to themselves. Because we saw a lot of players trying to run around. They tried to use shockwave grenades to catapult themselves into a safer zone, but they couldn't get away because Swizzy had that vision on them, and he was able to rack up eliminations, and that also helps them with the leaderboard.
So coming up with match number 5, who are you looking most forward to, or who do you want to focus on during the next match?
I think
any favorites?
I still have hope for Kanada and Bucky. I think I still want to see if they'll be able to pull up this time. I think they do have the capacity to be able to jump at the top of the leaderboard, because as we saw, everybody's points is very close to each other. So I think they still have a shot.
Actually, I'm supporting Hero and Adapter, the Middle East duo. They're doing insane, and it's good to see them on top of the leaderboard, to be honest.
So not a typical Kami and Swizzy. I mean, they're still up for grabs with those points, and who knows?
They're dominating.
They're dominating. I know, but it's still 3 matches to play, and who knows? They've been pretty consistent, though. We must admit to that. But still, everything is open. Nothing is decided yet, and we are gonna see who's gonna rank up those points and get that trophy at the end of the day.
Absolutely, they had some time to rest up now, at least around 15 minutes between the 3rd game and the 4th game. We're looking at the standings again. Right now, the leaderboard update, Swizzy and Kami still in number 1 with 117 points. 2nd place is still Darm and QLN with 98 points. However, there has been a change with the 3rd and 4th place. Zyro and Rapid move up towards the 3rd place with 86 points, but there's still only 2-point difference between them and Adapter and Hero. Oliver and Acorn, the guys we just spoke about, are also climbing up threats and campaigns. I mean, we are seeing these guys play in the island, and they all have a shot. None of them are like not doing their best and trying to give their all, but some teams are still falling back behind Soriano. Like, we're looking at the bottom 3, Reet, Zrul, and Leo the Crack. They're not really showing up as if they need to, you know?
I think we're gonna have like 15 teams that are gonna start to play aggro. Aggressive plays and getting more eliminations, because you see the difference in points. 10th place is 50 points and 1st place is 117 points. That's a big gap. So I think we're going to see a lot of aggressive plays in the early game. We have the lower half of the leaderboard right here. Bolts and Quanti in 11th place with 46 points. And then Kelki and Yuma with 45. Edges and Kaiki with 39 points as well for BLQ and Malado, his teammate. We see Savage and Queasy in the 15th place with 36 points. I think this team is going to play aggressive in the next 3 games, as well as Bucky and Canada. And then we have the Brazilian duo King and Osco with 27 points. Phaser and Gorillon with 24. Stranger and A3, the UAE duo with 21 points. And Blackouts with the 12 points.
It's a surprise seeing Savage and Queasy at that place.
That low.
I feel like a lot of people spoke about him. A lot of people had higher hopes in them to get at least the top 10. But right now, they're still falling back, Soriano. Let me ask you, if you were their coach, what would you tell them?
I mean, they don't need a coach. They both are insane players, pro players. They had many. Queasy with the best IGL in the world. Many consider them like that. So I think this is the Brazilian duo vibing as well. He changed his sunglasses.
He just changed sunglasses just for the camera, just to be cool. And speaking of the lower half of the bracket, do you think they're going to be playing more aggressively throughout the next couple of matches because they don't have anything left to lose, so to speak, only 2 games?
Yeah, that's for sure. I think we're going to see a lot of early engagements, and I think our game is starting.
And that's our cue to get into game number 4 for the day. Let's take it away to our casters.
Games remain out of our 12 total. This is crunch time for all of our teams, and it's looking pretty close at the top of the standings. It's still all to play for, but it looks like a lot of our top teams are still doing what they do best.
Yeah, the final stand, the final opportunity to get as many points as you can in this competition. I'm going to call it right here. I'm calling it here, Mini. Cooper and Webster, they're going to soar these next 3 games. They're going to absolutely crush it. I feel like they're going to go. You can see it by the way in which Cooper's holding himself, that confidence. I think it's going to be really interesting for those two, particularly the way they played in the last game as well. They're getting that victory royale. It's going to be special here. But yeah, last chance for our players now to really kind of make an impact, make their mark. They kind of find an opportunity to kind of like to regroup during the short break window that we had there to kind of talk about how they're going to see things out. I think Cammy and Swizzy, as we've seen in previous games as well, here Cammy and Swizzy have been very composed, really relaxed themselves into each game, wait for that end game. That's when they strike. That's when they get those ridiculous, like 50+ eliminations that they've got thus far, simply because waiting for the end game when everyone's in a tight circle, a tight bubble, and that's when they blast their way through to the top of that board. So interesting to see if they're stopped early on. It only happened one time, if I remember correctly, in game 2 of this competition. So if they can happen again and other teams capitalize, that's what we're talking about.
And we're talking about some early fights as well, as we are more likely to see now. We talked about it earlier, a little bit more early aggression. Oliver OG and Acorn come flying on through. Oh, Louis is down, and so is his teammate. Blackout down and out. First team to get eliminated. Oliver OG and Acorn were not wasting any time right there, and they want to make their mark on this leaderboard as well. They've had sort of hot and cold games. We haven't seen the best of those guys, so most certainly, and someone we haven't seen enough of, I feel like, consistently is Reet and his teammate, but they've shown so many good moments at him. I feel like this is now their time to do what they do best and hit that W key.
Yeah, they've become almost fodder, being at the bottom of our leaderboard there, I think, right now. As it stands, being fodder for Acorn and Oliver OG there, just using them as a couple of elimination points. We'll move on to the next area to try and get some more. So I think we might see that more and more now. There might be certain duos that are teams that are really dominating here. We can see, sadly, Gorillan there being beamed out, but if Phaser can stay alive for the moment, then we will get that reboot back in, and Gorillan will be back in very, very shortly indeed here. But keeping a very close eye on that, kind of on the elimination feed, the top left-hand corner there, just seeing kind of exactly who's taking out who. We saw that whopping great 11 elimination bomb from Threats in the last. Threats, speaking of which, on the elimination feed, but in the wrong direction, being taken out there seconds ago. Ken Beans hopefully still up, so that duo can continue pushing forward here. But Quanti and Bolts trying to find this high ground, very high up here, as Bucky and Canard in the distance there will need to push in. Can they make it count when they inevitably have to stick their heads up from the parapet?
The questions now asked of a lot of these players, and you know, you can't blame it on nerves now. They've had 9 entire games to settle them. It's all about who can have the better aim, the better strategies, the better game plan. As we see Ages there going down, Stranger to Reet and his teammate Sizer. These guys just absolutely on a tear right now. 6 eliminations already in this game. That's exactly what they needed to do. Phaser is down. Gorillan we saw go down earlier. There's Phaser's confirmed knock, and elimination is able to get rebooted. But Gorillan just needs to stay alive for as long as possible right now. That's his goal. Hasn't got any heals, unfortunately. So his goal right now is just to stay in it. And yeah, Phaser is back in action. And you can see again another elimination. Barnstorming run from Kaiser and Reed. 7 eliminations now. They're just looking out, honing, finding all those different targets to attack. And they're doing it with aplomb right now, finding so many elims.
That's an extraordinary amount. 7 already. We've only just started this this 10th game, so a really great start from them. But Cooper and Webster, I'm happy to sit and storm. Yuma's there, very low on health. I think it could be an easy. This could be a team wipe here. Both players desperately low, but there's a counteracting there, and Cooper's been forced to escape.
And Webster takes out Yuma, though. It was a bit of an interesting situation for Cooper. He went inside of that room, and it was Yuma's teammate, I think, was popping the med kit. And he didn't even know who was in there, as Bucky's also in a bit of a fight against Queasy. Canada does take him out in the end, so Queasy is now down. Mr. Savage having to stay alive and clutch up. So many players inside of the storm here, all the way at Adobe Bow. So many players that are just trying to survive and stay inside of the proceedings here, because there is still so much time for players to pick up elimination and placement points. This is not the time to go down, but Bucky and Canada know that. They're able to use those heals, the patch-ups, and the med kits that they can buy from these vending machines. And there's just almost more players inside of the storm than there are inside of the zone. Look at this. Kai and his teammate Age is just running around. They don't know. Adapter's there. Is he going to make a play? Very, very sneaky. The door's closed. Adapter makes a play, uses the med mist to try and cover himself, and actually does find the elim if you look at the top left as well. So great work there from Adapter. Kai down and out. Age is going to have to come back. Or will he just wait and allow his teammate to get revived?
Yeah, can Webster as well remain alive for the moment, as Cooper also down the elimination feed here. But Age is holding, waiting for Kaiki to come back into effect with Adapter, ensuring that he makes it as hard as possible for him. But luckily he has that med kit. He has minis if necessary, and he can ride this out for a second here, as it's a really small tick. Only one tick at the moment on the on his health bar in the storm. But Queasy going down again, Bolt's taking him out there, and Age is now being down. Oh, this could be interesting. Kaiki only just respawning back into that, rebooting only seconds ago, will be limited on resources. This could be interesting, but Adapter, get the med kit. He's protected by the mountainside, and this duo should live to fight another day.
Really good work there from Adapter. Has played very, very patiently inside that house. It's very easy to shoot at someone as soon as you see them, but he actually let Ages run by and then eliminate his teammate to get both eliminations. There is still, of course, Kaiki inside of the game. Reek continuing this aggressive run. Takes out Kanata. Bucky tries to escape and shockwave away, which he looks like he's going to do successfully, as Reek can only hit one shot, but the pressure continues from Reek. Can't quite connect with that second grapple, so he's going to be set back a little bit, as that buys Bucky a few extra seconds to allow Kanada to get back into the game. But look who's lurking there as well. It's Yuma. There's so many players in this area. This is not the time for Reek to make a mistake, and he's doing that very, very calmly right now. He's not wanting to make that mistake and retreating a little bit to make sure that he's not going to over-aggress.
Yeah, smart move there. Smart move getting out of dodge when things got a little bit chopsy. I think Cooper being down there as well. Again, it just goes to show this duo are unstoppable. 11 eliminations. There's still 18 teams left on the lobby. This is crazy.
I mean, what did we say? Was it 12 eliminations that our leaders had in terms of game elimination? I think it was Acorn's team, wasn't it? Oliver G and Acorn, they had the most eliminations after day one. These guys are on track to beat it before reboots have even ended. So huge plays here from Reet and Sizer. Let's see if that can continue in this game, as Yuma's teammate here and in Kaiki trying to pop this medkit, keeping himself alive and giving Yuma a chance to get back into the game, which is important. King and Oscar, unfortunately, haven't seen much of these guys. It would have been nice to see another King pop off on land, but just haven't quite been able to see it. Still time there for this team.
I think, as far as I can see, looking at the scores previously in this in different rounds, different games we've seen here, I think currently Trippinen's rule, if I'm not mistaken, with 12 eliminations is a current record in terms of eliminations per game. So they are one away with a lot of players left that they can scrub out, courtesy of buffing their score and trying to beat that record, which is superb here. King and Oscar, we haven't seen an enormous amount of, as they make their way around Lizard Links here. They're uncontested right now. They've got themselves a clear run through to the crates. Oscar dodging that, as King, I'm sure, will make the most of it and resource up. But here we go. You can see now that utilizing these crates. Got a couple of them locally, and they'll be unchallenged getting those. As once again, we can look aerially and see that how QLN and his teammate kind of sit at the top there, just relaxing, chilling, waiting to see how this one plays out. No one's they know how important these leaderboard points are, the standings points. And if you're in a good position, not being threatened, you cannot afford for now just to wait it out. But Adapter and Hero, on the other hand, are forced to continue fighting. They're in a storm. They see two players. They know that they can absolutely do the business, courtesy that 115 knocking out and eliminating Gorillan. See that in the feed there. He has disappeared. Adapter and Hero going for the chests as much as they can, trying to get as many things as possible so they can go and fight another day. But Trippinen's rule Can they top that 12 we saw yesterday? Maybe not, but 3 is certainly a good start.
Really good start from these guys. And it's funny, we've got 34 players left in this game. I think I can count 4 that are currently in the safe zone. So everyone is playing inside of that storm right now. Beautiful beams there from Trippin to take down Bucky. Canada is making his way inside of the zone as well. Will they aggress? They go for the RPG. Doesn't quite connect down there with Canada. I don't think you can actually see the edge of the hill. But huge stuff from Tripp and Zrul, who, yeah, it was actually them, wasn't it, that got the highest elimination game yesterday. So important that they can continue that and maybe find that same success, rekindle that pressure that they were able to apply yesterday. It's Cammy and Swizzy, yet again, pretty uneventful beginning of the game for them, which is exactly how they'd like it. Some would say boring, but I say tactical, cool, calm, collected, which is why they're doing so well.
Yeah, definitely tactical. Definitely tactical.
Yeah.
I think Swizzy and Cammy, I think just, yeah, you're right. This has been a really good strat for them. Cammy, we've seen time and time again the strat, the tactician that he is, coming up with these great plays, ways in which they can give themselves the best opportunity to ensure they always get themselves the VR. And they're doing it again, regardless of eliminations. They wait till the end when they've got themselves a cluster of players that they can zap and send right back to the lobby. GG. Yuma goes soaring over the top there, and Dom ensures that he knows he is there. There's players very close by here as they all sit on the west side of the zone as the storm starts to approach in. Queasy and Savage as well. Again, not seen enough from them today or yesterday perhaps as well, but they're still there. They're still ensuring that they are there when reboots are disabled now, and players who are eliminated ain't coming back.
Disaster strikes though for Kaiki, who is now down. He saw Rapid there getting the elimination credit for that. Dom and QLN need a big game here. They are still second on the leaderboard, so you know they want to try and close in on Cammy and Swizzy. The problem is when you're chasing someone like Cammy, it's just you're almost chasing your own tail, because he's just going to continue to get those games going and stay consistent. So difficult to close in, but you need to try and make every elimination, every placement point count in terms of Dom and QLN. Rule getting aggressed inside of that bubble. Tripp has to then shockwave out and stay alive. It was actually Bucky and Canada who actually ended up picking up the pieces and picking up all the loot from that, but Tripp says no thank you. Shock goal, the rocket comes in. Does crack both of them, not able to find the elimination on either. Dom is actually able to find a big beam onto Tripp, who's now going down to 27 HP. No heals in the inventory either, but does try and clap back with a few extra shots from his own. 27 HP, gonna have to make a big play here, or else he's down, and unfortunately the latter has happened. QLN though, down to only about 3 HP, having to use that med mist grenade and Dom's Fizz to clutch up the health, thankfully. Just about staying in this, courtesy of a few bunkers and some bubbles. But a bit dicey for this team. They would have liked that to go on a little bit smoother there, that rotate.
Yeah, only 19 points separating Dom and Swizzy's team before this match started. The question is, will they pounce the last 2 games? Will they try and drop on them? Will they try and put them pressure on them, Cammy and Swizzy, and try and overtake them with 2 games left to play? We'll see what happens in the next one, but for now both teams still stand as we keep a very close eye on that elimination feed. Cammy and Swizzy managed to get themselves 1 duo taken out, making it 2 eliminations for them as they kind of fought a bunker across the map here, and again ensuring that they are the right side of the storm as it starts to migrate south. See how they can last this one, ride it out all the way to the end with 9 teams left in game 10.
Nice work here from Cammy and Swizzy. 6 bunkers in both their inventories combined, so using this hill as a bit of cover as well. Still got some shockwaves and the Fizz, which they might decide to use here. But staying safe, staying calm. You see Quanti and Bolts all the way up on high ground, but they're going to have to vacate that area pretty soon, as Cooper down below them also will have to do the same. Queasy and Savage inside of this end game. It's nice to see them popping off here as well. They've got plenty of utility left in this game as well. Experience here showing that they can keep themselves mentally focused for the latter stage of the competition. Dom trying to make his mark as well inside of this bunker. Really nice work to take out Hero as QLN is inside of that one as well. But no, Dom taken out. It's Adapter down below that actually ends up taking him out. Hero, his teammates down. Now that team's down to a solo, and it's QLN now that's got the